a woman is taught in this culture that to be powerful and to like be desirable, she is supposed to be aloof and be uninterested and deter the advances of the aggressive male in order to demonstrate her worth. So like that was what I was taught originally, is like, you know, the way to be an attractive woman, feminine woman, whatever, what you have to do is you have to demonstrate your worth, and all these aggressive males are gonna like come after you. Originally, that's what I was taught, right? So I was taught, like, you know, the way to be hot is to be like a bitchy woman who is like, you know, warm and whatever, but she like kind of stands back and she like deters the advances of these aggressive males, and that way she can demonstrate her worth because she doesn't submit right away. You know, like she's so hot that she doesn't need to, you know, she has like all this stuff going for her, whatever. Okay, so that method didn't work for me. It didn't lead to happiness because there weren't, first of all, like enough people just like coming after me, because honestly people really aren't that aggressive. Like there are lots of aggressive males, but they're not like all just doing that all the time. Also, I kept falling for people who didn't do that. And so like all I could do was stand back and wait, because like according to my method, you know, women can only be hot by like waiting. And if they don't come after you, then they're not manly enough or they're not whatever, so they don't like you, so then you can't do anything. So like my method was like, you just can't make yourself vulnerable ever. So that didn't work for me. And then I also like, I saw examples of women who put themselves out there and were confident about it and were really cool and like still attractive, and I learned from them. So then I adopted this new method, which was like, put yourself out there, be confident, and be vulnerable with everyone as much as you want. And then you'll be happy because like you can be powerful by like showing people desire without actually like letting them hurt you. By like, you can just put yourself out there as much as you want, and then if they reject you, you just have to give yourself the validation. Like you just have to recognize that you are like a perfect person. And you give yourself that recognition, like you love yourself and you can give attention confidently to everyone as much as you want, and you're perfect and fine and whatever and powerful. Okay, so like again, that didn't work for me, because like what happened was I ended up like putting myself out there over and over again with people who weren't giving me a feeling of power. So like I kept giving and giving and giving vulnerability, because I like learned this new method and I was like trying to be confident and brave, and I was. And like I did love myself all along, but I was feeling lonely because I was like putting myself out there, and then it wasn't working for people or whatever. I have no idea. And so like in certain instances it did work perfectly, but then in the ones like that I wanted it to work, it like didn't really work. Okay. So I felt unhappy and lonely because I was giving more than the other person. And so I felt like they had all this power over me. So that didn't work either. It caused me to be lonely, standing back and like waiting for people to come to me. And it also felt lonely to keep going after people and not get back like what I wanted, which would be like an equivalent amount of attention. So both methods didn't work because both methods aren't balanced. It's like what has to happen in a healthy relationship is that both parties have to make themselves vulnerable. Both parties have to show attention to the other person and make the other person feel powerful in a way that's fair, in a way that's like balanced and fair. And what was happening for me was I was feeling deprived because like I'm someone who needs a lot of intimacy and who needs a lot of like intelligence and excitement, and I'm someone who like really likes to be social and I'm very extroverted, and so like I need a lot of attention. And so in order to get attention, I would try to give attention and I just give a lot, and then I wasn't satisfied. So my point is though, is like both ways weren't satisfying, because the only way that it can be satisfying is if both parties are vulnerable, both parties feel powerful. And like that's why it's important, and it's an important element of my method, which it wasn't necessarily before, but it is now, to pursue relationships that are balanced, in which both parties have power and both parties speak and both parties make themselves open and give attention and show desire and whatever. So that's what's fun. That's what's like sexual and powerful and fun. I I don't think it works to be like just dominant, submissive, whatever. I don't think it works to just have one person going after the other person and the other person like deserting whatever. Like it doesn't work either way. I think it's like it's gotta be fair. You have to show the people you're with that you desire them. You have to show them that they're powerful and that they are special to you, that you value them, whatever. Like both ways, like it has to be both people because that's what's fun and fair and exciting and sexy. Like that's how it should be. And if it's not that, then that means you have to stop investing yourself. But it just means like you can show investment, but only to a certain degree. Because if you keep showing so much investment and attention and it's making you feel like deprived, that makes sense. Like it should make you feel deprived because you're not getting a feeling of power from that other person. Not because you aren't powerful and you aren't perfect and you don't have a high self-esteem. It's just because they're not showing you power. It's not enough to just believe you're powerful and be alone. You also need to have people around, who recognize you as perfect and beautiful and whatever. So, yes. That would be my New Year's resolution, probably, would be to pursue fair and balanced relationships. And if they're not working, then focus on my studying or something better, more important.